Hey guys, HW. Back in Sydney. It's a glorious day today in Sydney. It's going to get up to 19 degrees Celsius. The wind's currently from the north at 4 kilometres an hour. I'm standing really close to Sydney's Chinatown on the intersection of Harbour Street and Goulburn Street. Now, the very historic Goulburn Street is going to be the muse for our vid today. We're going to focus on it solely because it's absolutely packed full of history. It's 1.1 kilometres in length, or just over 1.1 kilometres in length. And when I started researching it, I just couldn't believe how much history is packed into this street. It's crazy. Even Chinatown itself over there, it only got established in 1920 because the original Chinatown, which I never knew, was located in the rocks, in Sydney's rocks. So you learn something new every day when you review Sydney's history. So we better get going. So we'll start down on Harbour Street so that we can walk the whole length of Goulburn Street. And this is getting back to my original series where I was doing the full length walks of various historical streets in Sydney. So today we're going to get about it again. We're going to see heaps of historical buildings and sites along the way. It's going to be glorious. So come join HW. Let's get started. Oh, before we do, have a look at this massive apartment block in Harbour Street now. That's where the Sydney Entertainment Centre used to be. Remember that? Last band I saw in the Sydney Entertainment Centre was The Killers. And I can't remember what year that was, but the building itself got demolished not long after that. So yeah, the gates of Chinatown are over there on Goulburn Street, and as I said, and something that I didn't know before, was it wasn't the original Chinatown in Sydney. Yeah, it came later in 1920. Original one in the rocks. Busy arterial road, Goulburn Street, as you can see. It's a way for people to get from the inner city suburbs out to the eastern suburbs. As we look down Goulburn Street once more, I forgot to mention who Goulburn Street's named after. It's named after Frederick Goulburn, who was the first Secretary of Sydney back in the colonial days. But the bit that I was about to film was the Star Hotel, the historic Star Hotel. It was built by the Tooths Brewery Company. Remember when we did the Tooths Brewery site in Chippendale? I think if you look through my thumbnails, it's called Chippo. So this brewery built this hotel here. In 1923. And it's one of the only surviving hotels in the city that is in the interwar free classical architecture style. Just crossing over Sussex Street now. I noticed this building walking down this morning, and I've noticed it many times before. I've never bothered to check what it is. It's built in 1912, I can see on the headstone up there, so I'll whack that in the description later, find out what it is. I like walking along this strip here because there's heaps of different eating places and little shops and cafes and stuff. At Raybon Footwear on the corner, that's been there for donkey's years. And back in the day when Doc Martens were really popular with the school kids. Maybe they still are. Crossing over George Street. Can we make it across before the light rail screams through? Yeah, go on then. Now, this is another thing that I didn't know before, but this Scruffy Murphy's over here, which is a famous Irish bar. Prior to being opened as Scruffy Murphy's, it was known as the Goulburn Hotel, or the Goulburn Street Hotel. Another historic building on Goulburn Street. Now, to hit the next spot, we're going to have to cross over the road. I might also have a walk past Scruffy Murphy's while we're here. This is one of our major stops for the little stroll today, and this is World Square, formerly known as Brickfield Hill. It was granted to all the land here was granted to a Samuel Hockley back in 1810 by Governor Macquarie. He originally set up a butcher's here, or a butchery. This part of the city was considered slum back in the day, back in the colonial days. Later it became a brickworks. Thus the name Brickfield Hill. Today it's full of office towers and shops, as you know. In the 1900s, the Horden family, the very famous Horden family of Horden Pavilion fame that you know of at Moore Park, they opened a Palace Emporium in 1910. Now, I don't remember that building at all. It was still around in the 1980s apparently, when it was demolished in 1985. Now I only ever remember this site as a building site, and then obviously later World Square popped up, all the hotels and office towers. So it's interesting for me to find out that little bit of history of old Brickfield Hill. Imagine a big butchery there. I assume it was a bit of an abattoir as well. Would have smelt quite divine. And the Palace Emporium, don't remember that building, but I've seen photos of it. It looks quite grand. The entrance to this Aroma Sauna Spa. This used to be known as Checkers, and it was a nightclub opened in 1951. Some of the famous people to perform here back when it was a nightclub: Liza Minnelli, Dionne Warwick, Eartha Kitt and Roy Orbison, just to name a few. And then later it was sold and purchased by another live music festival venue bunch of people. And it turns out in 1973 AC/DC performed their first public performance here. Never knew that. I only ever remember it as a spa sauna, this place. The local Sydney jockeys, the horse racing jockeys, used to come here to waste. I remember There was one in particular, Jim Cassidy used to come to this when it was called Checkers. I went in there once with a mate from work, and you had to have a shower, and then they had this like massive big heated swimming pool or bath that you sat in. It was quite nice. So that was many moons ago. I don't know whether it's the same now. Oh look, they've got a photo of the large spa. I think, pretty sure that's what it looked like back in the day. I don't recognise any of the other bits though. I think we'll take a look at the other location from across the road here so I don't have to cross again. This is the Civic Hotel, built in 1940 in the Grand Art Deco style. Never been in that building at all. The number of times that I've walked past it. Crazy. And just across the road here, Pitt Street, is Mr. B's Hotel, formerly known as the Mandarin Club. I only remember it as the Mandarin Club. There's the next location, it's across the road here. The Masonic Centre of Sydney, the Grand Lodge. I had my year 10 school formal in the Masonic Centre. It was built in the 1970s, this bottom part here, and the other bit, the building above, the office tower above, that didn't come to 2004. It was a part of the original design, but it just took so long to get built. So the old Masonic Centre, circa 1970s, that bottom bit, and a home for HW School Formal in Year 10. I don't have great memories of either of my school formals, the Year 10 or the Year 12. I almost went past the, I was right underneath it, almost went past the next landmark. The Family Court of Australia, the Lionel Bowen building. Lionel Bowen's a politician, a Labor politician from Australia. It's not just known as the Family Court building anymore, or the Family Court. I think it's called Family Court and Circuit Court or something like that. They're combined. But over the years, I'd say this building saw many a debated family custody issues and all sorts of things like that. And here we are looking up at the only car park that the City of Sydney operates itself. It's a council car park. The Goulburn Street car park. Opened in 1963, and you can hear a train screaming through now. It's built over the top of the City Circle line. This ugly concrete monstrosity. Apart from being known as one of the ugliest buildings in Sydney, a lot of people think it's quite dangerous that it sits atop the City Circle line. There's been many attempts to change it over the years, but because of the train line, they keep giving up. I recall I had a company car parked in there when I moved to Melbourne. I was with the same company. And I was down in Melbourne for a couple of years, and when I came back, said company car was still parked in the Goulburn Street parking lot with flat tyres. They never bothered to move it, my colleagues, or even use it. Or maybe they did use it, but they never bothered maintaining it, that's for sure. Oh, while it's there, we might as well have a look at the Crown Hotel from here. Crown Hotel, built in the 1880s, or the 1800s I should say. Later it became a guest house, and then shortly after in the 1900s it returned to being a hotel again. 1909 it reopened as a hotel. I've had dinner in there before, it's quite nice. Here's a Vibe Hotel right on the corner here, if any of you are thinking about staying there when you come to Sydney. Had breakfast down in the restaurant there a couple of times in the past when I worked in Surry Hills. They used to do a good breakfast buffet in there. There's some other nice historical buildings over there that I've walked past before. It's the Goldsmiths buildings, 1788 to 1888. They got some age on them. This grey building on the corner here on Goulburn Street is Australian Federal Police, or one of the Australian Federal Police buildings. I think I read somewhere not long ago that they were looking to sell that building to someone else. I don't know whether that's still the case or not. But I always love the reflection it gives of the hotel behind us and some of the other buildings on Wentworth Avenue and Goulburn Street, looking through the trees. Beautiful. It's a beautiful reflection, that one. Oh, looking up at the Griffiths Tea building. When I was working in Surry Hills, this building was pretty much abandoned for much of the 90s and 2000s. Can see up Campbell Street there to the Hotel Hollywood, or what I like to call the Hollywood Hotel. Bit about that later. Just under this Griffiths Tea building, this is the side of the what's the word? This is the side of the make-believe subway station at the start of the chase sequence in The Matrix. On Wentworth Avenue here. And then just around the Johnny Horner here, here's the corner of the Matrix where Neo runs past, grabs the phone off the gent, and then runs up Commonwealth Street there. This is the second time I've filmed this hotel today. This is called Hotel Harry's now, but back in the day it was called the Macquarie Hotel, built in 1912. Got purchased and refurbished in 2012 and become the Harry's Hotel that you know today. Very popular hotel apparently. I've never been in there. But apparently it's a real landmark these days. According to the literature here, it's been designed in a real Caribbean, Cuban feel now. I don't really see it myself, but Maybe inside it is. Leave that for another day. And this building here on the corner of Commonwealth Street and Goulburn Street, Mark Foy's. This was another building owned by the Mark Foy's department store. This was a knitting factory and a warehouse used by Mark Foy's. Still with its logo on the building. It's all apartment buildings now. I couldn't find any history on when it was built and all of that, and when Mark Foy's left it. But apartment buildings now. Oh, Weymouth Lane. I've never gone down there. Got some old buildings in it. Oh, look at that. That's a good find. Cheeky little cafe in there called Two Eggs. Two Eggs Cafe. I like it. So come back and try that. How are we going to avoid this building crew over here? Bloody noisy. These cheeky little terraces here on Goulburn Street, right next to the police station. Tiny. Oh, we're getting close to the end of the walk now. And we know we're at the end of the walk when we hit Crown Street. And there we go, at the end of the walk in Crown Street. Oxford Street just there, where you can see the colourful rainbow. And the Columbian Hotel right on the Johnny Horner. Now let's go looking for our nectar. Back on Wentworth Avenue. Heading to find a nectar now before getting back on the Iron Horse to get out of the city. Oh, while we're here looking down Wentworth Avenue, have a look at the that technology, that Atlassian technology building coming along now on the skyline there behind the Central Station clock tower. Yeah, said it before, say it again, it's a glorious day in old Sydney town today with the sun out. We did get a few days of rain again, as my barometer correctly predicted. I think we're near lunch hour at the moment, so that's why it's starting to get a bit busier. The food monsters are starting to hit the bricks, looking for their lunchtime tucker. Now, if you follow my other socials, HW Tours on TikTok or HW Tours on Instagram, you'll get a bit of an idea where I'm headed now for coffee. It was a place that I snapped and put up on one of those channels, I can't remember which one, of a place that I found to try for nectar today, for coffee. And in the back of my mind, I've stored that 2 Eggs coffee shop that we saw walking up Goulburn Street before, so I'll hit that one of the days as well. Just walking along this part of Pitt Street out the back of World Square, I can smell some beautiful Asian food cooking. I might use one of the laneways off Pitt Street into the cinema strip to see and get to this coffee shop I want to try. Let's take Central Street. And just happens to be this was the site of the original Central Police Station. Look at this ye old sucker. Now this part was definitely attached to the one of the courthouses out the back. Look at even just that old electric light there. That must be from the early 1900s itself. But anyway, we're heading to coffee now on George Street, so let's get it. George Street's pretty busy today. Here it is. Here's the place I wanted to try. Brewtopia, underneath the Julian Assange mural. It used to be a mural of Volkanovski there, Alexander Volkanovski, the Volk, the UFC star champion. But they replaced it with Julian Assange, and it used to say "Free Assange," and then he was free, so they had to black it out. So let's get into Brewtopia. Might have a seat out here in the lane. Going, could I have a flat white to have here?
Oh, sorry, we only do takeaways, that's fine, please.
Yeah, it's fine also. They still have maintained a Volkanovski mural. Down here, we can't see it behind the umbrella. See he's gone there. Got some spaceman painted on this mural here. As we wait for the flat white to arrive. Oh, look here, there's even an old entrance into the old police station here. Imagine if you're a crook getting dragged through this gate back in the day. Bit of it fell off as I knocked it. I'll face the camera down this little laneway here out to George Street so you can watch while I consume this coffee. No coffee, no life, says the saying on the cup. I like it. It's not a bad brew from Brewtopia. It's got that funky taste in a good way, where they've probably used like a single origin bean. It's this white cot, getting tongue twisted. It's quite sweet. I've had ones that are quite more funky than this, so this is good. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the walk down Historic Goulburn Street today. See you in the next vid. The video is over. North Sydney train. Toot toot.